Okay, for Yoda, first you want to do is divide the page in half, line top to bottom. You want to come down a little bit, probably about the center of the page for his head. His head is going to take up most of the page, so we're going to put a nice size circle in for Yoda. His head is more circular than it is oval. You want to put a dividing line in for where his eyes are going to go. Immediately after that, I'm going to put an oval shape for his body directly under that, but not far enough where it's two circles. If you notice, I have the head here, and then you don't see the rest of this circle. So you want to come down just a little bit and then put the body shape in, which will be a half oval shape here. Once that's established, we're going to take a line on a diagonally from one side of the page to the other. And this is going to be where his shoulder is going to be, from this line to this line. Put a circle in for his right shoulder here, one for his left shoulder. It's going to be somewhat behind his head a little bit. Then you want to take an oval shape for his legs down here, and then just put a line here. It's going to go right off the page. Now for his right arm, he's going to be having his arm extended out somewhat, and put a square shape for his fist. His other arm is going back off the page, like towards the end of the page in the upper right hand corner. And then put a circular shape there for his fist. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on his face. So for his face, I'm going to go ahead and start with an arc that comes down to the center. And then do the same thing coming up on the left side. We're going to go right above that and go into his forehead and repeat the same shape. Do the same thing for the left side of his head. Now in the center, we have two more shapes. You're going to bring it over, down where the center line is, go up and then down one more time, and put a center line there for his forehead. Now once you've established that, we're going to focus on his eyes. So you want to put an oval shape here. And to measure it, you can take your finger, move it to the center, mark where you want the other eye to go over here. And then out from the outside, we can put our line in for the temple line and mark it right here. And then put the other eye. Move down to his nose. His nose is close to his eyes, so you want to bring a line in right about here. Not too far below where it makes the bridge of his nose long, but right where I have it just under the eyes. And you want to put an oval shape there for his nose. And then for the bridge of his nose, put in the line there indicating the bridge of the nose. I'm going to move down to his mouth. For his mouth, there's a simple line that goes from here, over, and then stop here. And we're going to move up to his the top of his head. For the top of his head, we're going to add some additional lines here. This is where he has a very scaly type texture on his head, so you want to go in and bring a line here, and then put one more above that, right here. For the outside of his head, you want to come right where the edge of his eyebrow is and make the side of his jawline here, and then repeat the same thing for his left side. You want to come down to where the end of the circle is and make the bottom of his chin. And then come up on the other side, the left side. Now for the top of his head, you want to close it off by having one last layer come up, go over in the center. You can divide it in half like this with the center line, and then come down on the other side. Now what's going to happen is these lines that's in here, you want to continue this line up right here and in here. This creates the rest of the ridges that he has in his head. And we'll bring this line in like this. And then the top of his head here. Now for his actual eyes, you want to come in just like you would in any normal eye. Come into the center. Do the same thing for his left eye. And bring his eye in, just like this. Do the same thing for the left eye. And because he's older, you want to put a line in right above the eyelash. Close the bottom part of his eye by simply making a line darker that's right here. That's already drawn in with the oval shape. For his nose, you want to simply bring a line around and follow the oval shape that we have in place and come around the other side. Now just underneath his eye, he has bags under his eyes. So for that shape, you want to just make an arc that comes up on either side. Then you want to come from around his nose, stop here, do the same thing on the other side. For his cheekbone, it sags a little bit and comes around and connects to the chin, just like so. Do the same thing for his left side. Come in, his chin and his cheek connects, so let that complete line, I'll show you my finger come around under and do the same thing on the left side. You want to put a space where his mouth is, just open it just a little bit, not a whole lot. And then you want to put a line right under that. That's for his bottom lip. Now, he has, for his ears, they come out pretty wide. So for his ears, you're going to have an arc that comes out like this, and then there's going to be a line that comes up and over, and it covers up a certain amount of his arm. Come back down, and right where his cheek is, you're going to have the bottom of his earlobe here, and then come back around. For the inner ear, come around, go up, follow the shape, and stop right about here at the end. And there's a bottom part to his ear that comes around like this and comes back to the side of his head. Now we're going to come to the right side and repeat the same process. You're going to come down, measure right about where the eyebrow is. You want to start the right ear, come in. This time we're going to come from the outside and come in. Curve it, and you want to come under and repeat that same shape. Do the bottom portion of his ear by coming down, have it coming in, and right near where his cheek is. Now he has a bit of hair on his head. It's very thin, so just put an outer layer on top of his head like this, very light. Don't go too heavy because his hair is almost sheer. You can see straight through it. So you just want to have kind of like a line that follows the entire top of his head, like almost like a wig shape. And then have a few lines that come in onto his head. Now we can move to his body. For his body, he actually has wearing kind of like a cloak. So come from behind his ear, put a line in like this, and then follow that line out like that. Right under, over, under, then over. Where I have his hand established here, you want to take a piece of his cloth that comes off of his cloak and bring it off to almost the edge of the page. Come in, over, and one more time, and then go under the square shape for his fist. Where we have the wrinkle lines for what he's wearing, you can follow that contour around to the other side and go under. And complete his jacket right under, just like this. While we're on the right side, we're gonna go ahead and put his fist in. So I'll zoom in because usually when I do hands or fist, you can get a better understanding. So for his fist, we're gonna go ahead and put a circle here and another circle right behind it. Off of this circle, you're gonna come in and do an arc and come around like this and create another circle. Come to the other finger and repeat the same shape. And then close the top part of it off by connecting the line here and here with the first knuckle. Now, you want to take this line and connect these two circles here and here. And the third one behind this one is where his thumb is going to be. So you can put a third circle here and a line that comes around, and put another one here. And then the final portion of his thumb is going to be the part that wraps around the front. He has a nail that comes up in the center. Bring that around and close it. And I'll get out of the way so you can see it. There's a nail here. Close this fist around like this. And the reason why I'm not putting any detail right here is because this is where his lightsaber is going to go. So we're going to leave that portion open. So when we add the lightsaber later, we'll go ahead and add that in and put that in last. So now that we have his fist established over here, we're going to go ahead and put the rest of his body in. So for his body, it's simply closing this shape here. He has a very small body. And you'll bring around to the other side. And don't go too dark because we have to put the lightsaber in later. Bring the other side of the cloak from his left side, right from underneath his head here. Close this part off, come over, and then have this part come under his ear. So the other part of the cloak's gonna come under his earlobe, wrap around, and then swoop under to this side of his hand, which is gonna be here. Have a line come out from behind his ear, close this part off of the cloak that he's wearing. I'm gonna wrap this portion around and connect this. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Repeat the same process. And bring this in like this. For his left hand, he has an index finger that extends out just like this. So just a line to just curve it and go around. His nail's gonna be here, so I'm gonna put that nail in, come around, and then bring it in. His left hand is a bit more abstract, so we don't necessarily have too much structure going on because you have the index finger and the thumb, and he has 3 fingers. So I'm going to bring this other portion around of his thumb, and let's put that nail in there and close this side here. Close this side off with the other finger, and then underneath this index finger he has a 3rd finger back here, so we don't see that much of that. Close that off, and then we can actually shade that in now so we don't forget later. Alright, now for his legs, let me take this under. We're going to go ahead and have his leg come around like this, and it stretches over to his extended leg on the left. He's wearing pants, so bring that in and around like so. Close it off here so we have enough room for his foot. Bring the other side of his pants and then close it off like this. So he has flexion folds that extend from one side of his pants to the other, and then put a simple line here to here. And before I forget, he has the back side of his cloak that's floating, or there's wind hitting it, so you want to come from behind his ear here. Bring a line in here, go back up again, bring it down real close to where the edge of his wrist is, We're gonna have a part of his cloak come around and swoop up, almost like a cape. Repeat this shape here, as you see this little S curve, and go to the outside, and then close it. Come in and under, and what happens is this part wraps around and through. And what happened, this part comes around and wraps around and goes through, and it swoops around to the other side and closes it just like that. Now we're going to deal with his feet. With his feet, he has 3 toes on each leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to just simply do almost like a starfish shape. So you want to come out, over, up, down, up again, over, is like half a star, and then close this part off right there. So think about a starfish and sketch that in. For his other foot is back, and this is forward, so this is going to be smaller. So you're going to go down, up, up, and then down one more time, and then close this side. So at this point of it, you want to go ahead, and he has these simple shapes which are going to come around and close like this and put another shape here. So 1, 2, and then there's a shape that goes over where his foot is. And then he has another shape that repeats the shape over here. So it's kind of like arcs that goes over his toes, or half circles. Then he has these little nails that come out at the end. And repeat the same thing with his other toe. And then over here. And of course he has little lines indicating bones in here, so you can follow along what I'm doing and put little shapes like this in. It doesn't have to be totally defined, just indicate it. Let's go ahead and do his right foot, do the same thing. If you notice over here, I'm gonna repeat this arc right here, and another one, it's just 2, and then put another arc here for the smaller toes, and over here. And we're gonna go in and complete a nail and have it come around like this. And put that shape I was talking about for defining the foot in there. And come around like this. Now, we have them all drawn out, so the final part of it is going to be the lightsaber that extends here all the way over. So I'm going to go in and take out some lines so that we can see the lightsaber. Okay, so when we're drawing the lightsaber, you want to take a line and come through where his hand is. So we want to make it look like he's holding the lightsaber by the handle. Just like this. And come out past this cloak piece right here. Just a little bit, not too much. Because the lightsaber is actually normal size for him. So I'm going to close off the bottom part. And remember, we're sketching at this point. So remember to go light and don't go too heavy, because you might have to, well, you will have to clean up later. So right where I have his thumb indicated here, we're going to actually close that and then put the top part of his lightsaber in and draw detail on that here. So it's essentially just a few lines right here, one line, another line, and then a third line right here. Make a little indication right here and then close it. And the lightsaber simply is going to go across his body just like this. So take your pencil and just come straight across his body like this, all the way to the end of where the page is, as far as where you can get it. And as it comes to the edge of the page, make it thinner and then close it off. Come back up here and then sketch the body in. Now, when we come back to the lightsaber itself, it has 3 lines that goes on the bottom part. You have 1, 2, and then 3. And then bring those same 3 lines up just like this, where he's holding the handle. We have a line that comes in here for a wrinkle and here. Now, if you've drawn up to this point, you've just completely drawn Yoda. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to speed up and do a time lapse, so that way I can clean up all the lines and add any final details. And if you would like, at the end of the video, you can pause it and take a look at it when it's all completed. Those who follow this channel, please help me get 50 likes and 10 comments on these how to draw videos. Thank you very much.
Thanks.